Hey there, good afternoon. Welcome back to News at 4. Meteorologist Julia Quady. Still having a bit of that false type fall here in the coastal bend as it relates to our temperatures, still remaining to be in the 80s. Still seeing those winds coming in from the north, of course, giving us a slight chill in terms of refreshing air here in the coastal bend too. And we're still looking at some pretty mostly cloudy skies as we take a look at our CCAC sky cam over in Snoopy's Pier. But of course, these conditions, while they are nice, they're not going to be here to last forever, but we are going to enjoy them, of course, being left over from this past weekend. In terms of our temperatures, like I noted, things still definitely below average on the cooler side. Currently sitting at 87 degrees here in Corpus Christi, 86 over in Robstown, 88 in Kingsville, and 87 degrees for the folks on over in Alice. So again, very comfortable conditions. We still have a bit of dry air left over in the forecast for us for today, but we will be looking at that changing just pretty briefly looking ahead to tomorrow with some more humidity returning back to the coastal bend after having a break of that for the past few days. But like I noted, those winds are still coming in from the northeast, going anywhere between 13, 14, 15, or to 16 miles an hour, especially, of course, heavier wind speeds, a little bit more gustier for our coastal neighborhoods and communities for this afternoon. But again, that's just building in that refreshing air that makes it feel somewhat like fall for us for this afternoon. But like I noted, that humidity is expected to return slowly, gradually coming back to the forecast over the next few days for this week. So with that, we'll start to feel a twinge of humidity back in our area, looking ahead to tomorrow into your Tuesday, continue throughout your Wednesday, and throughout the remainder of the work week, we'll be back up into that oppressive zone with more moisture and humidity and higher dew points back up into the upper 70s or even into the low 80s in some locations. But even with all that in mind, what's at the top of our minds in terms of what our forecast looks like for the next few days, of course, is regarding Tropical Storm Francine right now. We did get that latest update around 4 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center, and now we do have a couple more areas under a tropical storm watch at this point, which it now includes the coastal bend. So now all that shade of yellow that you see on our map here shows that all this area is along the Texas coastline under a tropical storm watch at this point. Now tropical storm warnings in effect for parts of the upper Texas coast and a hurricane warning in place now for most of the coastline of Louisiana. Again, this is all related to Tropical Storm Francine, which is slowly starting to intensify and get a little bit more organized. Again, it's still a tropical storm, but in terms of the timeline of its intensification is starting to pick up just a little bit. Hence, that's why the National Hurricane Center found it necessary to issue and upgrade some of these watches and now warnings in some locations here that could be feeling impacts from the system. But again, for us back at home, I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can see this here. Areas under that shade of blue, this is again mostly marine, coastal waters, under now a tropical storm warning until Thursday at 4 o'clock. Tropical storm watch now in effect for our coastline counties, so areas that are a little bit closer to those coastal waters will be under that tropical storm watch until Thursday at 4 o'clock as well. And we also have that coastal flood advisory that continues to be in place until tomorrow at 7 p.m. So a slew of watches and warnings in place all over that map there. But again, the ones that we really need to pay the most attention to is that tropical storm watch, which is again in effect for our coastal counties and neighborhoods. Again, that just means that there is potential that we could feel some effects from this system, but it's not for sure that we will. It's just a precautionary thing that's now in place for us. But in terms of this track and what we're anticipating for the system and how it's going to move, according to the the National Hurricane Center, rather, we are now seeing that since the system is starting to get more organized and intensifying a little bit faster, it is possible now, at least forecasted at this point, that the system could start to become a Category 1 hurricane by late on Tuesday and then becoming a Category 2 hurricane early on Wednesday morning before eventually making landfall nearby the Louisiana coastline by the evening hours on Wednesday as well. So we'll continue to forecast this out for impacts here at home. For now, our best bet is potentially seeing a little bit of rainfall in the forecast beginning for us for today, and then possibly not seeing quite as much rainfall as we were initially anticipating last week, because as the system begins to develop, getting stronger, it's going to become more organized, so a little bit more close and compact, taking a little bit away of our chances to see some significant rainfall here in the coastal bend. But of course, expect small changes on the way for us. Every small change can lead to drastic impacts for what we can expect for us here at home, so we'll continue to keep that up to date. And again, our forecast on rain depends on the track of this system and how it moves. But again, don't worry, just check your supplies here at home. We're not looking at any super direct impacts as it relates to the system right now, but we'll continue to keep you apprised apprised of everything that you need to know here at Chris 6 News. But now taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we'll continue to see that rain remains to be in the forecast for us now as we continue to watch the tropics. Showers will begin late tonight, heading to tomorrow morning on your Tuesday, where we start to eventually dry up, seeing drier conditions and warmer temperatures late this week.